The sun had long set on the kingdom of Abenwan, but Adaeze's reign with Chike beside her brought years of peace. The drums of war had grown silent, the fields yielded rich harvests, and their people prospered. Yet, in the quietest moments, Adaeze's heart knew the truth: the gods had denied her many children. For years, she bore the pain in silence, until one day, the heavens gave her a son. His skin was deep brown like his mother's, his eyes fierce and watchful like his father's. At 8 years old, the boy ran through the palace courtyards with the confidence of one born to lead. But fate, cruel and unyielding, had been waiting. It was deep in the night when shadows moved at the edges of the kingdom. No horn was sounded. No alarm was raised. The enemy came like whispers on the wind, blades glinting, torches burning. They were not neighbors, nor allies. They were strangers hungry for land, for blood, for conquest. The clash began in the darkness. Adaeze and Chike fought side by side, their swords singing death into the night. Bodies fell at their feet. Yet for every enemy slain, 5 more emerged from the black. The air reeked of blood and burning thatch. Adaeze's loyal maid, trembling yet resolute, clutched the young prince's hand. Adaeze, her face streaked with sweat and soot, knelt before her son. "Go," she whispered, voice breaking. "Live. One day. Come back for what is yours." The maid fled into the night, slipping through narrow paths, hiding the boy from the slaughter. Back in the heart of the village, the battle raged. Adaeze's blade cut through armor, Chike's spear tore through bone. But then, the leader of the invaders, a towering man with eyes like obsidian and a double-bearded bow in hand, took aim. The arrows flew like lightning. One pierced Adaeze's chest, the other tore into Chike's skull. They staggered but did not fall. Side by side, their free hands found each other. Blood ran down their arms, soaking the earth. Their swords still lifted, they fought until the strength left their bodies. And there, in the dirt, the enemy leader swung his blade and took their heads. By dawn, Abenwan burned. Many were slain, others chained and taken as slaves. The invaders claimed the throne, the land, and the glory. Years turned to decades. The boy, now a man hardened by loss, swore before his mother's spirit to avenge Adaeze and Chike. He left the safety of his exile and sought out a master of the old ways, a man whose teachings were whispered about in secret, a warrior who had trained kings and assassins alike. Through blood, sweat, and years of relentless practice, he mastered the blade, the spear, the bow, and the silent kill. When the time came, he returned, not as a prince, but as a traitor. He entered the palace of his enemies carrying goods so rare that even the greedy king could not resist. But greed is blind. The king seized the treasures, spat in his face, and threw him into the dungeons. That night, fate twisted once more. She came, the king's daughter. Skin the color of warm honey, eyes bright with curiosity and compassion. She tricked the guards, slipped past the shadows, and unlocked his chains. "Go," she whispered. "I do not know why, but I feel you do not belong here in the dark." They spoke briefly, 2 strangers in the half-light. Something unspoken passed between them, but the prince hid his name, his mission. He left quietly, a weakling in their eyes, but in truth, a storm in waiting. He now knew the in and out of the palace. One moonless night, he returned. With him were 2 loyal friends, brothers in arms forged by years of shared battles. They moved like ghosts, cutting down guards before they could cry out. The court doors burst open, and the king awoke to the sound of his warriors dying. The prince advanced, sword raised. But then, she appeared. The king's daughter. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she fell to her knees. "Please. Do not spill his blood. For my sake. For love's sake." His grip tightened. The years of hatred roared in his chest. But her voice, soft yet unyielding, broke the storm. He bound the king instead, took him and his daughter far from the palace, riding through the night to an abandoned village. There, under the pale light, he told the truth. How the king had slaughtered Adaeze and Chike, how he had burned Abenwan to the ground. The king, once proud, now bent under the weight of his sins, begged for mercy. The prince's jaw tightened. "You took everything from me." But then he turned away, choosing restraint over the blade. Yet, as he stepped toward the door, the king lunged with a hidden knife. In one motion, the prince struck, a single fatal blow. Silence fell. The king's daughter stood frozen, but instead of hate, her eyes carried sorrow. And understanding. "You had to," she whispered. In time, the two returned to Abenwan, not as enemies, but as rulers. Together, they rebuilt what had been lost, restoring the throne once defended by Adaeze and Chike. The drums of war fell silent again, but this time, the story of the lioness and her mate would never be forgotten. For in Abenwan, the blood of warriors does not fade. It is passed on, like fire, to those who dare to protect it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Akamovies for more stories. Bye.